Another game for Milos! Because we watched Season 8, Episode 13, The Comeback. So, Katie.
Hi.
How'd you like The Comeback?
Well, now that I understand the Milos Raonic ad where he says, another win for Milos. Mm-hmm. I like this episode.
You had some chuckles.
I noted down when I laughed and when you laughed. So there were chuckles. I think like episodes of Seinfeld that are fine. Mm-hmm. There were some groaners. Just some like, oh.
There was episodes that were groaners, or in this there were jokes that were groaners?
There were jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah. One thing that I think Screen Crush pointed out was that in later episodes of Seinfeld, which we're like getting into now, it was like every episode just turned into like a line factory. Like here's a line that's going to enter the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And it's like another win for Milos, jerk store. But I think this episode maybe, I think the Elaine Vincent storyline, I think there was a lot there. I think there was like a little bit of funny with the like Kramer.
Yeah. So I like that they related to one another. I did get super bored with Kramer in the middle, especially when he was with Elaine in the lawyer's office.
I mean, okay, we'll talk about it. Let's do our housekeeping first. So The Comeback was written by Greg Cavett and Andy Robin. I'll talk a little bit about their process for this episode. The Comeback was directed by David Owen Traynor.
Who?
Yeah. Apparently Andy Ackerman was on vacation.
So they're just like, hey, you.
He was he was credited on like 130 Seinfeld episodes.
So they literally looked around the room and they're like, David.
He's always listed as additional crew, but he has credits on other TV shows such as Boston Common, Ellen, Just Shoot Me. So he was like a guy that was like part of like production staff.
Sure, but was he like first AD or was he crafty?
This episode seemed to get directed fine.
I mean, by this point, it's the car drives itself.
The director job probably isn't as important as we think it is. We're not shooting Schindler's Lists here.
Sorry, is that the sequel? Schindler's Lists?
First he has one, and then he has many. He can't save them all.
That would be on Vincent's shelf.
So Andy Ackerman was on vacation. So David Owen Traynor. It aired on January 30th, 1997.
Oh, now we're ahead of... There's probably like a Super Bowl or something. No, it's not on a Thursday. We were in sync.
We were in sync, and now we're
out of sync.
Yeah. And we're behind. We're always behind because 1997 was several years ago.
I guess we're just... Let's just say it. We're going to release episodes on Friday now. Because I don't think we can get our act together to record this before Thursday. So we're going to watch on Thursdays, release on Fridays.
Okie dokie. Vulture.com ranked this as the 120th best episode.
That's kind of low.
Screen Crush had it at a almost nice 68.
Sure.
And IMDb had it a little bit higher at the 56th best ranked episode with an 8.5 out of 10.
Sure.
I think this was fun. I think it was a pretty good episode. So originally they had already cast Ben Stein, who I guess we'll get to as one of the guest stars, to be like a Yankees executive, but like they couldn't figure out how to get the story to work. So Peter Melman had always had this idea of this like comeback line in, George, having the perfect comeback line, hours after getting insulted. So they like took his idea and turned an episode out about it.
Where's Wilhelm? Where's the other guy who's always in
the Yankees? Well, Wilhelm is now cleaning carpets with.
Oh, that's right. He's in a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the other guy?
Canonically, he's in a cult. It wouldn't make sense if he was back being a manager with the Yankees.
Yeah. So, who are the guest stars?
So we had Ivana Milicevic as Patty.
Who's Patty?
The wife that Milos
I didn't realize she had a name. And her name is Patty?
Patty. Traditional
Eastern European
Baltic
Patty.
name. Patty. Patricia.
We did not have that name.
She was in Love Actually, Paycheck, and The 100.
Is that like 300?
No, The 100 was a sci-fi TV show where humanity
you watch this, right?
Is up in space for some reason, and then the planet they think
2025.
The planet they think has because of like environmental reasons, I think they were like living in space, and so then they wanted to see if the planet was good enough for them to return. So all of the kids that were under the age of 18, or all the kids that were under the age of 18, instead of having to go to prison, got sent down to Earth.
Was this a big problem?
And then there was like a Lords of the Fly situation kind of thing going on.
Is that the sequel to Lord of the Flies? Lords of the Flies?
The situation belonged to Lord of the Fly. So it's Lords of the Fly. It's like a step's brother-in-law.
Oh my God. Continue with the guest stars. Please.
We had Joel Polis, who played Riley.
Who's Riley?
He was the guy that
he's the executive.
The shrimp guy.
That's his last name. To me, that's a junior hockey player's first name. So I'm like, that wasn't the kid. That's Vincent.
Riley, Jonesy.
Yeah,
Shorzy.
exactly.
Shorzy comes back next
yes.
This weekend. Watch Shorzy. Shorzy's great.
Yeah.
Riley was in The Thing, like 1982's The Thing. He was in an episode of Diagnosis Murder. And he was in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. Remember when like all the guest stars were in Star Trek?
I think they used everybody on Star Trek and they had to branch out.
Maybe Star Trek used everybody on Seinfeld.
Maybe.
We had Ben Stein playing Shellbach.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller.
Yeah. He's the boring guy in everything.
Bueller. He was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And he was in, famously, he hosted Win Ben Stein's Money.
Isn't he like virulently racist or something? I should probably not say that without knowing for sure.
Like, isn't allegedly he virulently racist? Like,
hold on, I have to. There's something wrong with Ben Stein.
That's a statement. Like, has he been canceled? Was he a Zionist? Did we talk about how apparently somebody was thrown out of the Jerry Seinfeld show in Ottawa?
No, we didn't talk about this.
Oh.
Yeah, racist.
Against?
Black people.
Oh, okay. There's different forms of racism, Katie. I need to know what kind he is so I know how to judge him. Like, how bad of a racist is he on a scale?
So who got thrown out of the Jerry Seinfeld show and why?
They were the Palestinian protesters.
Oh. So wait, if Ben Stein was anti-Palestinian, would that be okay or worse? If he was that kind of racist?
I would assume that it's like more of a newer thing. If that came out. Whereas like this is like, oh, okay. Like he's racist.
Because this conflict is brand new.
No, but I mean it's du jour.
Yeah, okay.
Like being racist against black people is like an 80s, 90s thing.
And that's when he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
We should go through the tapes of Win Ben Stein's Money and see if any
black people were on the show.
Won his money.
Okay. Anyone else? Milos.
Mark Hrelek played Milos. He was in 42, Jurassic Park 3, and a half dozen episodes of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh. Well, let's throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remembered this episode.
The Jerk Store called. And they're running out of you.
Well,
think I nailed it.
I'll read the synopsis. 12 minutes in, George goes to great lengths to respond to a coworker's joke. Jerry learns his tennis pro is terrible, and Lane falls for a sensitive video clerk. Do you want some shrimp cocktail right now? Because I really, really do.
Nothing's better than shrimp cocktail.
Those were huge shrimp.
Oh yeah, they were 24 28s.
I'm sorry, what? It was 24-28.
So the way that you grade shrimp sizes
How do you know this? Is this from when you bought 2 kilograms of shrimp?
It's not from when I bought It's not from when I bought 2 kilograms of shrimp. So you've never like wondered like when you see shrimp sizes and it's like 2 numbers and you're like, what does this mean?
I've never seen numbers.
You've never seen.
I've seen salad shrimp, which is little, and then shrimp, which are like this big, and then jumbo shrimp, which are like this big.
So the way that they grade shrimp is it'll be like 2 numbers like that, and it's the
like
number,
blood pressure.
The number of shrimps between that number will add up to a kilogram of shrimp.
Oh, okay. So what size were the shrimps that you bought 2 kilograms of?
I don't know. They
just gave you a bag.
It was literally a shopping bag. It was like a plastic shopping bag full of shrimp.
Oh, there was no cold open in this episode. It just went right into shrimp.
Yeah, I mean the Yankee Stadium, like open Yankee Stadium.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no,
yeah.
There was no skit.
Sure,
there was no stand up. There was no skit.
No like irrelevant thing. I wonder if the episode went long. They had to cut something.
It feels like it must have gone long.
They did have to cut stuff because after Kramer had set up his will and then he was worried about dying, so he was driving really slow. They had filmed a whole bunch of other situations. So there was apparently one scene where like the floor in the apartment was wet and he had to like walk very carefully because he didn't want to slip. Ugh. There was some other scene with an elevator. They weren't like really sure.
Isn't this the same as like when they had the bus and they filmed a whole bunch of bus stuff with Kramer? And then they're like, no, we got to cut all this out.
They do have a lot of episodes that have run long. They've had to cut things out. Yeah.
But it's mostly Kramer crap.
Maybe because it's like Kramer stuff is like, we'll film this and it'll be funny. And then they're like, this is funny, but it doesn't have anything to do with it's not pertinent to the story.
I guess it doesn't. It's a insurance strategy to like, well, let's just film a bunch of stupid shit, and then if we're short, we can just slot in more Kramer.
Yeah.
Vincent is an art house goon. I stick to Gene.
The Other Side of Darkness.
I wrote down, I miss the video store.
From Seinfeld or like actually going to the video store? That was great.
It was.
What an experience. You got what you got, and that was what you had. Yeah,
and sometimes you'd go and you're like, this art house movie looks interesting. I'll rent it. And if you watched half of it, it's like, oh, whatever. I didn't care for that. Or you just leave the whole thing on. And yeah, I've watched a movie I didn't think I would care for. And I don't know, like if we started watching a movie now that was bad, we'd pause it, see how much time was left, and go, we're not watching any more of this, and choose something else right away. But like you've invested in renting this video, so
you're going to finish it.
You're going to be Elaine going, he's dead. He's wearing sunglasses, but how could you not know that he's dead?
Have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's 2?
No.
Have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
No. Weekend at Bernie's 2 spoilers ahead. I know the dance.
Do you know why he's dancing like that?
Because they're making him do it?
Do you want me to tell you or do you want to watch Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Don't spoil Weekend at Bernie's for me.
Apologize, I won't.
No, tell me.
So in Weekend at Bernie's 1, you are correct. It's like 2 young interns at this like big like firm go to this like beach house and the CEO Bernie or whatever he is dies and they're like, well, we can't ruin it. So they like try to like rig him up. In the second one, however, Bernie's still dead. However, a voodoo curse is placed upon his body.
Of course.
So that when he hears like music, he will dance.
Okay.
And so that's why he's dancing like that.
Okay.
But he will walk towards a treasure or something like that.
I think I've definitely seen reference to this in other things. Probably The Simpsons.
Do you want me to cut a little quick thing that you can put at the start of the episode that at minute 22-ish we spoil Weekend at Bernie's 2 in case you don't want to hear what happens?
We'll just go, okay, we'll do it right now. Weekend at Bernie's 2 spoilers ahead. Okay.
We got it.
We got it. Someone told me that the kind of documents that Kramer is making, even if a lawyer writes it, are unenforceable. Like you have power of attorney for property and power of attorney for continuing care. But I think your power of attorney for care does not have specific scenarios or wishes. It's just you are authorized to make decisions.
Yeah. That makes sense because this scene where they're going through a list of every possible scenario to determine whether or not you should pull the plug or stick, as Elaine puts it.
It is funny that she says, I think you stick it.
I think stick. Because I can still go to a coffee shop.
Yeah. I was intensely bored during that scene. Also because Elaine...
I thought you liked Business Elaine.
I do like Business Elaine. But my problem is I don't understand why Kramer needed Business Elaine. It wasn't like he was negotiating with the lawyer for the right to live or die. He's writing down his wishes. So it's not like he needs a hard-hitting businesswoman.
I also don't think you need the executor, who you are naming as executor of the will, to be present when you are naming them executor.
No, you don't. But Elaine's not the executor. She's just coaching Kramer on what to say.
Well, Kramer referred to her as the executor.
Oh, because he also referred to Jerry as the executor. Basically, he doesn't understand any of this.
Well, he switched out Jerry.
Oh, okay.
When Jerry couldn't throw away the tennis racket.
Oh, that's right. I was probably getting snacks when that happened. I did like when Kramer said, I don't want to be a vegetable. I just want out. And then George comes in because he's got a plan to use his comeback. And he's very excited. And I laughed because Jerry said, did you get someone to take that Canadian quarter?
Sometimes in life, God smile upon you.
I'm going with Jerk Store.
So this was in reference, Cabot and Robin wanted to point out the experience of writing Seinfeld episodes in the writer's room.
I kind of got that.
And up until season 7, it was like a writer's room where there was multiple people and you would write and it would be like this situation. And then after season 7, episodes were written by writing teams in isolation.
So that's why they're bad.
I do think I think when school projects, when you're collaborating, it first starts off and you're very much we are going to write this together. And everything is you basically have two hands on the pencil. And then as you get older, you realize you're you write your part, I'll write my part. And fuck it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I felt like going back to the scene with Kramer and Elaine in the lawyer's office, I felt like I could see the script. Like when Elaine says boring, that doesn't relate to what was said before. And it took me out of it. And I'm like, somebody wrote that thinking it would be funny, but it's not. But you laughed when Jerry said to Kramer, given the legal opportunity, I will kill you.
What a great line.
What's with the audience clapping when George left? He said, I'm going with Jerk Store. And then there was a silent pause and then he walked out and the studio audience made themselves known, which I haven't felt in a long time.
I think he gave a little bit more of a longer impassioned speech, but you were getting snacks. It was a good line. He was very animated, very impassioned.
I guess. But that really made me feel like I was watching a filmed TV show and not people in their apartment.
Filmed before a live studio audience. Do you remember when the audience used to clap every time that Kramer came on screen?
Obviously. Have you ever been in a live studio audience?
I have been in a live studio
so
audience.
So have I.
Yeah. Did your TV show actually make it to air?
Yeah, it was Royal Canadian Air Force.
Oh.
What was your show?
I don't remember what it was called. I remember afterwards my dad, so we like sat in the audience for this TV show, and they filmed multiple scenes, and it was like a 3-camera sitcom. Yeah. I think there was like animals in it that could talk to the kids of the family or whatever.
Oh.
Then afterwards, like as a reward, they were like, here's like a booklet of products that you can get at the grocery store. So there was everything from like food to like...
Where is this going?
Dishwashing detergent to like household items, like all of this stuff. And they were like, everybody circle the ones that they want, and then we're going to draw 2, and those people will get their things.
What a weird ass reward.
And so we did it. And actually my friend that I was with, he won.
Yeah.
And then afterward, my dad explained to us, he was like, this TV show is never going to be on television. This was all a marketing gimmick to like find out from these 500 people about what products they think are better.
You think they brought in animals just to do that?
They weren't real animals, Katie. They were like puppets.
That's not how you do market research. You could just ask people, what products do you like?
I don't know. I believe it to this day. The TV show never made it to air. It makes sense.
You just went to a failed pilot. It wasn't.
Then why did they ask us about the products, Katie? Why did they ask us about the products?
Probably because TV shows are ad revenue driven, and the advertisers are like, well, you're going to have people there, so let us do some market research.
For this failed TV show.
Well, so they're not going to sell any ads on it.
So my dad's point was they were doing market research.
But they didn't make the show. It wasn't a ruse. They were really filming a show that they wanted to be on TV. It has to be.
Never made it to TV, Katie.
But it doesn't matter.
Maybe my dad was like, that TV show was so terrible.
It'll never
There's no way this is real.
I was so excited to be in the audience for Air Farce. I watched it every week. Did you?
No.
I guess I'm just...
more Canadian than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents' friends were on Supermarket Sweep. No, sorry. My parents' friends were on Bumper Stumpers.
Would have been more impressive to be on Supermarket Sweep.
I don't know.
Everybody always goes for the turkeys.
Just hams, turkeys. And the food isn't real.
Didn't they reboot Supermarket Sweep with Guy Fieri? Or is that a fever dream that I had?
A Fieri dream.
Fieri.
Oh, man. Okay, so, Elaine brings vodka, cigarettes, and fireworks to a child's home. And Milos pimps out his wife.
We can just wrap up this episode. I think there's something here. So Jerry kind of criticizes Elaine about, she's talking about how, like, she rented a Vincent movie. Vincent called her. And he says, your screening process is getting ever more vigorous.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, screening process today is you see a picture on your phone of somebody that looks good. You like move your thumb one direction or the other.
Which one is the one that you like?
Swipe right.
Oh, okay. Is that you like that person?
I think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
We got to swipe right on.
But Jerry sees a woman in the tennis shop, and she's like, I have your address, let's go upstairs. And he's like, okay.
Well, she says, Milos, gave me your information, and I'll meet you, let's go upstairs.
So a beautiful woman can't be a psychopath? He's just
literally
okay.
97% of men, when presented with a beautiful woman who's like, this guy sent me. Let's go upstairs right now.
Did he not for 1 second think she might have been a prostitute? Does he care?
I don't. I'm trying to find a point in the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Well, he doesn't sleep with her, and then George wants details, and he's like, I didn't sleep with her. And George says, because of society, right?
What a great line.
Yes, George, because of society. So they got me because it all converges on this crappy tennis club. Kramer's there to see the lawyer. Mm-hmm. Jerry's there playing Milosh. Kramer's walking in slow-mo towards the lawyer. Milosh flings his racket. And I thought the racket's going to hit him in the head. And he even says, racket. But it doesn't. Mm-mm. It hits the ball machine guy, and the balls hit him in the face. So I did like that.
Yeah, I heard that about you.
You started laughing when George was in the Firestone meeting with Riley with the huge bucket of shrimp. Before any lines were said, you were laughing.
I was laughing when they were like, so you want to have a snow tire day at Yankee Stadium? And George just says, well, as long as they don't throw him on the field. You imagine going to a baseball game. They're like,
you get one winter tire.
Here are 4 winter tires for you. And you have...
No, you get one. A family of 4 would get a set. You can't give one person 4 tires. Derek. Come on. I also didn't see the coma coming when George's line doesn't work. And then...
Well, I had sex with your wife. His wife is in a coma.
That was surprising. That was a good one. And then at the end, Elaine brings a movie to cheer up Kramer in the hospital. He's not in a coma. He's just asleep. And she pulls a plug, and then he yells?
Yeah, you looked very confused at this. So he wakes up and thinking that she has pulled the plug on his life support system.
Yeah, I know, but maybe it just happens too fast. But it's as if she's pulled something that has then squeezed him. Like maybe it's like she pulled out a catheter or something. The way he screams. And then, my favorite thing, the freeze frame on the screen to end the episode. So there is a tag in this episode, and George, he's driving away from the meeting with Firestone. He comes up with another line, and he pulls a Yui and he's going back. Mm-hmm. Did you see who was driving the car?
Didn't look like Jason Alexander.
It's a man with a ponytail. It looked like Milosh. Okay, I guess this was a good episode. There was a lot to talk about.
I think I would agree. This was fun. It went by quickly. There was stuff to talk about. Some good lines. Apparently a play button goes really far back. It's like a tooth.
I mean, Elaine does go a little bit psycho. She wears the play button on a necklace. But did my son send you a part of our VCR?
I was wondering if you could pick some things up for me. I haven't been out in a few days.
What I was expecting was like the Blob Man, like a grotesquely awful person. Mm-hmm.
And then Elaine would probably just be like, yeah, bye.
Yeah. I have corrections from 2 weeks ago and last week.
Okie dokie. The Little Jerry.
So 2 episodes ago, I couldn't remember the first name of Julia Gulia's fiance.
Oh, yeah?
It's Glenn.
Glenn Gulia.
Glenn Gulia, which I should remember because I love Glenn Gould. Anyway, we were talking about people who see letters as colors, and it turns out that everyone just had that Fisher-Price toy.
Yeah.
I said the D was red. That was my guess, but D is green because they go in Roy G. Biv order. So, A is red. And then we were talking about checks at the grocery store. So, from a Reddit discussion, a no-frills manager weighed in. Oh, the supermarket manager says, we only accept checks from customers who have in their possession a card allowing them to give us checks. The card was given out by Loblaws some years ago, but they don't do it anymore. As I guess a transition away from accepting checks. So I'm assuming they do not currently accept checks. And last episode, I couldn't find any reference to Jimmy Legs that didn't mention Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So you are right. I think it started, it coined the term, except that, what? You're pointing at me.
A naval officer is referred to as Jimmy Legs.
Did you read my notes?
No.
Oh, you're right. The guy in charge on a boat was called the Jimmy Legs for some reason. And some sad news. I did post this on our Instagram, but our number one Close Talkers sanctioned snack, cherry blossoms, discontinued. There'll be no more as of the middle of this year. And did you know that it is a pretty common occurrence for people to find worms in cherry blossoms?
I didn't check the ones that we ate very closely.
Because the packaging is flimsy cardboard, it has been pretty common over the years to find worms in them. So, goodbye, cherry blossoms. Thanks for the memories.
I had a list because it came across my feed. The website cbr.com put out a list, the 10 perfect Seinfeld episodes that are flawless from beginning to end.
Okay.
It's a little unfair because 2 of which we haven't gotten to yet. So maybe I'll save that until we have.
Don't mention the 2.
Okay.
Because you brought it up.
Oh, I don't know. It was a thing that I saw.
How about you tell me 8 flawless Seinfeld episodes?
Coming in at number 8, The Bizarro Jerry. Coming in at number 9, The Contest.
What order are you going in?
No, wait. 7, The Contest. I had to subtract 7, The Contest.
Okay.
6, The Stall.
Can't spare a square?
Season 5, yeah. Yeah.
What else happens in that episode? I don't remember.
It's funny from beginning to end. That's the one the woman has the Mimbo. You don't remember the Mimbo?
Nope.
It coined the term the Mimbo. Elaine is dating a guy that's very handsome and George thinks he's super cool. They go rock climbing.
Oh, I just got a mental flash of Kramer in spandex. Okay, continue.
The Fusilli Jerry from season 6. Ass Man. The Parking Garage all the way back from season 3.
Okay.
The Rye. So that's the, I guess, the 3rd. What is their number 3 is a season 9 episode, which you probably could figure out, maybe.
Nope.
So then number 2 would be the Chinese restaurant. Wait, did I skip over the contest?
No, you said contest.
Oh, I said the contest. Anyways. Number 2, the Chinese restaurant, which I think is a little controversial. I think if you ask anybody their top 2, the 2 options for top number 1 best episode would either be the contest or the Chinese restaurant.
Okay.
But this list has Soup Nazi as number
1. Is it perfect or is it just memorable?
It's a good question.
I mean, George is going into soup mode. It's got a lot going for it.
Yeah.
Okay, next week, it's the Van Buren Boys.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Did you know that Martin Van Buren was the 8th president of the United States?
Yes.
The only reason that I know that is because of this episode.
I didn't. Derek is flashing me 8 fingers.
I don't think we can show what you're flashing me.
Bye-bye.
Is that a gang sign? Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?